Go inside the Crimson Tide with your hosts Rodney Orr and Gary Harris, keeping you informed on everything Alabama. And now, Tider Insider TV.
Alabama, they just have great coaches. They win championships up there. They have great facilities. Coach Saban, he knows what he's doing. He got to know what he's doing. He wins championships.
Marquel Benton, looks like he understands the process pretty well already. Good evening, everybody, and welcome in to Tider Insider TV, presented each and every week by Buffalo Rock. Bottlers of Pepsi products, a Southern Original like Diet Pepsi Wild Cherry, which we're enjoying again this evening. Love that sound, but you know what? I like the taste better going down. That is good. Remember, pick up some Pepsi products the next time you're at your local grocer. Well, Marquel Benton, a linebacker out of Central High School in Phoenix City, that's Auburn country, was one of five commitments over the past week or so for the University of Alabama. Coach Saban made a big splash in his 2017 class, Rodney, with 5 commitments. We covered Elliott Baker, the junior college offensive tackle out of California, last week. But let's get right to the 4 that committed since last Tuesday. And let's start out, Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com, with quarterback Mac Jones, who flipped from Kentucky to Alabama. Of course, he comes from the Bowles School, great program there in Jacksonville, Florida. Talk about Mac Bowles. I frankly was surprised that Alabama took another quarterback in this 2017 class.
Yep. Well, Mac Jones, when you look at him, Gary, I think, he's 6'3", he's 180 pounds. He's really more of a refined passer, a pocket passer type. He really kind of started coming on in the spring, started gaining momentum in terms of the recruiting process, and he's an outstanding player. When you really watch his tape, his huddle tape, he reminds me a lot of A.J. McCarron. I think he's got a chance to be an outstanding player. He's not just a throw-in quarterback, trust me. You rarely get 2 quarterbacks in the same class, in my opinion, like Tua Tagovailoa and Mac Jones.
Well, I want to ask you about this. I asked you on my radio show, when you have a quarterback committed like Tua Tagovailoa from Honolulu, some would say, why do you take another quarterback? And I know because you just said Jones is a really good player, but do you think this might have something to do with the fact that the coaching staff maybe feels like all these young quarterbacks that they've got here now, that some of these guys won't be back next season?
Well, I think next season, yes, but I think in the future it's a possibility you could always lose a quarterback. You never want to get caught shorthanded, and when you have an outstanding talent like a Mac Jones and you have an opportunity to get him as a quarterback, you certainly don't want to pass that up. And, I think that that's a wise thing to do, Gary. And like you said, there is a possibility, possibly after next season, that maybe a guy decides to move on.
All right, let's talk linebacker Marquel Benton. The Auburn Tigers got to be getting tired of Alabama coming into their backyard, pulling guys like Rashad Evans, Reuben Foster, and now Marquel Benton at one of these athletic pass-rushing linebackers, can also play against the run on the inside. A nice pickup for Alabama.
Yeah. And, Auburn has to be really disappointed because I think up until a couple of weeks ago, most people thought he'd probably end up there. Though, talking to Marquel throughout the recruiting process, he's always told me he was a big Alabama fan, came from an Alabama family. So I don't know that it's that much surprise, but he is a tremendous player, and they certainly didn't want to allow him to get out of the backyard. He's a guy that, he will probably play inside on early downs and move outside and rush the passer on third down, but a really quality player with a lot of potential. I think coming here, allowing the Alabama coaching staff to work with him, I think that's his best chance to really develop.
Well, Alabama and kickers, maybe that's the one area where Nick Saban has not maybe recruited up to par, not in terms of the rankings. They've recruited some highly touted kickers, and they've got some good kickers. Adam Griffin's a good kicker. But they maybe haven't had that superstar-type kicker. Now, Brandon Ruiz, I know it was off the little holder and there was nobody out there, but he kicked a 76-yarder through the uprights. I watched it on video. This is a guy that, as far as kickers are concerned, you can't get any more highly rated than this young man. And there you go. I mean, that's a moonshot there. Is this the guy that could come in next season after Griffith is gone and start as a freshman and become an All-American?
Well, first of all, really finding those awesome kickers that you were mentioning, those off-the-chart guys, is like a quarterback. I mean, they're really difficult to evaluate. In some ways because you don't know how they're going to respond on this level and make the adjustments they have to make. But he is an outstanding kicker, was 12 of 16 last year on field goal attempts. He puts most of his, I think he only had 3 or 4 kickoffs, Gary, that didn't go through the end zone. So he has a tremendous leg. You saw that video there. That was the 76-yarder that he kicked in practice. So he does have a tremendous leg. And, certainly, the accuracy is a big part of it too. Now, one of the keys you have to remember that most of these high school kickers, they kick off a tee. And that's what he's done in his career. But now, this year, his senior year, he's going to try it without a tee so he can get adjusted to what you do in college.
Yeah, like I said, a 76-yarder is impressive, but a 45-yarder when you got 11 guys trying to block it is
totally
more impressive to me.
Totally
Let's see what
different.
happens. All right, man, I got to tell you, Rod, this next young man, I get excited watching his video. Tyrell Shavers, Lewisburg, Texas wide receiver. First of all, he's 6'6", so he can go up and get it. But then you add in the fact that he ran an electronically timed 4.3, 40-yard dash. That sounds illegal to me. Committed last night. Alabama's had some great receivers, but this guy's 6'6".
Yep.
This is a Randy Moss-looking dude.
Did you see him outrun the angles there?
I did.
Unbelievable. Watch him go up and make the catches here. It's phenomenal. Obviously he's got the height. Did you see him keep his balance there when he came down? The guy's got a lot of athletic ability, a lot of coordination, great hands. What kind of weapon can this guy be? 6'6", 200 pounds, has been timed at 4.4. Some people say 4.38. What's the difference? But I just think the sky's the limit for him. And here's a guy that comes in on a visit, could go basically anywhere in the country, really wasn't planning on committing to Alabama during his visit the last couple of days. He's from Louisville, Texas, but you know what? He got here, told me he found out he loved it, and wanted to get his spot, keep it in the class. So he committed.
Quite a week for Alabama. All these satellite camps, Alabama just holds their old traditional camp right here, and recruits just
They don't even
flock.
have to hold a camp.
No, it's something else. All right, Nick Saban was back on the golf course last week, again for a good cause. The 10th annual Nick's Kids Golf Tournament featured a number of big names in Alabama football history, but of course the Crimson Tide head coach was the main attraction. Saban met with the media prior to teeing off and addressed the ongoing conversation involving the aforementioned satellite camps and Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh. After Harbaugh called Saban out on Twitter, the 5-time national champion, went on to downplay any so-called controversy.
I have no beef about Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh's fine with me. I didn't say anything about him. I didn't, and I'm not saying anything about him right now. Everybody's got the right to manage their program like they want. I'm not in any way critical of anything that he's doing or done or said or anything else, and don't really care. I'm worried about what we do, what our program does, what our players need to do, what our coaches are doing. That's enough for me. That's as much as I can handle.
Rod, Saban did say that Alabama will have a presence in some of these satellite camps, but he won't personally attend any of them this summer. Well, still to come on Tider Insider Television, Tony Brown's status for the football season is still unclear, but the two-sport athlete, it's not unclear what he does on the track, man. This guy is a freak athlete. We'll have highlights from the NCAA track and field championships. Plus, a total of 6 Alabama baseball juniors were chosen in the Major League Draft. We'll discuss whether any of those players will be back in Tuscaloosa playing for a new coach next season. And coming up, we'll be welcoming your phone calls, emails, and tweets. The information on the screen, 205-348-WVUA, 348-9882. That's your number. Or you can email us, TITV@WVUA23.com. Or you can question us or leave a comment for us on Twitter with the hashtag TITV. We'll be right back with a show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide, the one, the only, Tider Insider TV. We'll return right after this timeout. Alabama's closer Thomas Burrows was the first Crimson Tide player taken in the Major League Baseball first-year player draft last week. Burrows was selected by the Seattle Mariners with the 117th overall pick in the 4th round. That's a pretty good slot. That's some big signing bonus money right there if Burrows wants to go on to professional baseball. And welcome back to TITV alongside Rodney Orr. I'm Gary Harris. Burrows was one of 6 Alabama players, all juniors, by the way, Rod, taken in the draft. Each player will now face the decision of whether to forego his senior campaign at Alabama and sign with the Major League team. Now, other Alabama players taken include starting pitcher Nick Eichholz in the 13th round by the Marlins, catcher Will Haney in the 16th round by the Rockies, 2 Alabama players taken in the 20th round, both by Chicago teams, relief pitchers Matt Foster by the White Sox and Colton Freeman by the Cubs, and the final Crimson Tide junior taken in the draft was starting pitcher Jeffrey Bramlett, taken by the Kansas City Royals in the 30th round. So there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding the Alabama program right now. There's no coach. 6 players drafted, though, shows you that there's still just like last year, I think they had 6 or 7 players drafted. Still talent coming through this program, even though the wins and losses may not be where the fans would like them to be. They've had some pretty good players here the last couple of years. Well,
I've said always that I thought Mitch Gaspard was a really good talent evaluator. I thought he did a great job relating to those kids, and I thought he did a great job recruiting them. So it really is not a surprise that they would have this many players drafted, in my opinion, because I do think, as I said, he was a very good talent evaluator.
Rodney, I have to tell you and tell the viewers too, I think it's very unlikely that many, if any of these guys come back. I think with no coach here, several of these players had really good slots. I would like to see 1 or 2 of them come back. No doubt in my mind Burrow's going to go. Your thoughts on whether or not any of these juniors will return?
Well, I really don't know enough details to say. And again, I think one thing, too, when you're talking about not having a coach, let's see who does come in as a coach. And I don't know how quickly that'll happen and how quickly these guys assign. That could certainly impact it, too. But you never really know. You get another coach in here and have an opportunity to talk to them, could make a different decision.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep you abreast of the situation. All right, Tony Brown missed the Cotton Bowl National Semifinal and the National Championship game after being suspended by the Alabama coaching staff last December, and now his status from another suspension for the start of the football season is in question. However, Brown is still finding athletic success, Rodney. The talented athlete is also a hurdler on the Alabama track and field team, and he finished 6th in the country in the 110-meter hurdles at the NCAA Outdoor Championships this past weekend. Now, Brown earned All-American status for the strong finish. He will be a junior this fall. Now, it's impressive enough to finish 6th, but consider he outweighed most of those cats by probably about 25 pounds.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Again, when you look at him, there he is. Tony's probably close to 200 pounds.
Yeah, he's every bit of it. He is some kind of athlete, though. Well, coming up next, we'll be welcoming your phone calls. Well, first, let me say this. We'll be 2.5 months away from the start of the season. Preseason football awards, though, are already starting to roll in. We'll take a look at an early All-SEC list, and then we'll welcome some phone calls, some emails, some tweets, all the information right there on your screen on how you can get in touch with us. So go ahead and do so. We want to get some calls. Remember, this is the slow time of the year, so it's your chance to call in right now at 205-348-9882. Let us hear from you. We'll be back right after this. Alabama dominated Athlon's preseason All-SEC list. 14 Crimson Tide players made the countdown to become the best in the SEC, according to Athlon. 6 on the first All-SEC team. Those players: wide receiver Calvin Ridley, left tackle Cam Robinson, defensive lineman Jonathan Allen, linebacker Reuben Foster, and safety Eddie Jackson. Also on the first team, punter J.K. Scott. 4 players made the second team. They include tight end O.J. Howard, linebacker Tim Williams, quarterback Mika Fitzpatrick, and kicker Adam Griffith. Both Scarborough Ross, Pierce Baker, and Ryan Anderson were named to the third team, while junior Deshaun Hand was listed on the fourth team. Alabama's 14 players, the tops among all SEC teams. All right, welcome back to Tider Insider TV. 205-348-WVUA is the number. Let's go right to the phone lines. First up tonight is Sue in Tuscaloosa. Good evening, Sue.
Good evening. Yes, I was trying to find out if we're gonna know if Jalen Hurts might be our next quarterback. And my next question is, with the 2017 people that are coming into Alabama, would Nick Saban likely get Najee Harris and Bandarius Cowan to be starter, or would they be a red shirt?
All right, let's start with Jalen Hurts. And Sue, I know you're a big Jalen Hurts fan. Whether it's Hurts or someone else that's the starter, I don't think we're going to get any kind of announcement early on. I mean, I have a feeling this thing's going to play out through most of fall camp.
Yeah, I think Sue really likes number 2.
Yeah,
and I understand why. He's an outstanding talent. Kid's very athletic. He can throw the football. I think he's going to be an outstanding player. How quickly he gets on the field, I don't know. I mean, but I do think this. I do think if he comes in, he had a great spring.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I think if he makes a big step between now and August and has a really good camp, he's going to put himself in a possible position to play. And a lot of factors go into it, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that he could play as a freshman.
And as far as Vandarius Cowan, the linebacker, and Najee Harris, the running back, first of all, they still have to sign with Alabama in February. Suits are not even here yet. If they do sign with Alabama, whether or not they'll be redshirted or play as freshmen, just too far away.
Very early. Certainly, they're not even on campus, so you'd like to see them in pads first.
Yeah, you'd like to see them sign first.
That's right.
Because they can still go somewhere else. All right, let's stay here in Tuscaloosa and talk with Nick. Nick, welcome into the program, buddy. How are you?
I'm good, guys. What are we going to do at left tackle in football? And then what's the latest on the baseball coaching search?
Thank you, Nick. Well, left tackle, I still think at some point, Cam Robinson, I feel like, will be back here with this football team and be the left tackle. If he doesn't play right away, they're going to figure all that out in fall camp.
Yeah. I think Corin Curvin ended spring working there with the first group because Cam was injured in the spring and did not really participate in the contact work. But, we'll see what happens if he is suspended for a while. I think they'll settle all that early in August camp.
And as far as the baseball coach, Nick, really nothing new to report. Starting to hear a few names, but I think they're really probably just getting down to it now that the Super Regionals are over and the College World Series field is set. Don't know if we'll hear anything this week, but I got a feeling by next week we're going to know something.
Yeah, I hope so, because I know there's a lot of discussion about it and a lot of rumors.
All right, thanks for the phone calls, but don't stop now, because we're going to take more phone calls, have more discussion, more emails and tweets as well. Tider Insider TV, we're ticking along here on a Tuesday night inside Bryant-Denny Stadium at the Digital Media Center here in Tuscaloosa. We'll be back with more right after this. Last week, the Alabama Athletics Department announced the hiring of Ed Manowitz as the Crimson Tide's Associate Athletics Director for Football. It's a return to Tuscaloosa for Manowitz. He worked for Nick Saban at Alabama before as the Director of Player Personnel from 2008 to 2011. He's been with the Philadelphia Eagles, Chip Kelly, in the NFL since 2012, most recently as the Vice President of Player Personnel. Welcome back, Ed. And welcome back to you here on TITV. And welcome to Kenneth in Wadowee is with us tonight on Tider Insider. Good evening, Kenneth.
Hey, Gary, I just wonder those new commitments that's coming in, how are they rated, 3, 4, 5 star or anything like that? And I just wonder, too, if C.J. Mosley's brother is still on the team down there.
All right, Kenneth, first of all, different services rate differently. Rodney doesn't do a star ranking on Tider Insider. I'll say this, they're all really highly recruited players. I mean, they're players that every one of the commitments for Alabama recruited by numerous schools, so I can't go through each one and tell you whether it's a 5-star, 4-star, or whatever, but they're all really highly recruited players.
Yeah, and if you look at most of those services, Gary, all three of the position players are 4-star recruits for whatever it's worth. And the kicker, Brandon Ruiz out of Arizona, is considered the #1 place kicker in the country. Now, I don't know if they give him stars or not, but he is considered the #1 place kicker in the country.
And as far as C.J. Mosley's brother Jamie, he was on the team in the spring, so I assume he's still with them.
Yeah, I like Jamie. I think he's got a chance to contribute this year.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to the phones. In Birmingham, Reg is with us. Hey, Reg, what's up, man?
Yes, I wish they would learn how to answer the phone. Or they ask me what I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask it to you. I don't need to repeat it. It'd be nice.
All right, Reg.
Are we not looking very closely or thinking very much about this coach that resigned because of NCAA infractions? You think that this might be more serious than we are looking at it right now? Because if he did something illegally recruiting, that could be as serious as what Ole Miss is guilty of. And I'd like to get your opinion on that.
Well, Reg, first of all, thank you. I don't think it's nearly as atrocious as what Ole Miss is accused of. I don't think it's even close. And I do think that he broke some rules. That's why he's no longer coaching here. And Alabama has been very proactive in this regard. Could there be some type of penalties? I don't know. We shall see. But I'm not even going to compare this to what's going on at Ole Miss. You're talking about apples and oranges.
Well, Hugh Freeze in 4 years has 9 major violations, level 1 violations. This was a secondary. These were secondary violations or a secondary violation, Reg. So really, there's not a lot of comparison.
But Alabama is looking into it. That's why a very good defensive line coach, Bo Davis, is no longer the defensive line coach here. Thanks for the phone call, Reg. Let's go back to Beham and talk to the legend. What's up, legend?
Hey, guys, love the show. You guys are true legends, man. I mean, everybody, the whole Alabama nation love you guys, man. This is where we get our information. Hey, but I wanted to ask about who's a third running back that you might think would explode onto the scene, and do you see the running back position kind of at its weakest point during the Saban era?
All right, legend. Well, first of all, we're not legends. We just play two on TV. You're the real legend. But you know what? Yeah, I think there are probably more questions surrounding the running back position than there have been since 2007, 2008. Of course, 2008, the bell got answered nicely with Coffey and Ingram. I tell you this, I think Scarborough and Harris are both talented. B.J. Emmons, though, is a guy that you and I are excited about. He could step in here much like Mark Ingram did in 2008 and be an impact player.
Yeah, I think so. I also think Josh Jacobs, the other freshman from Oklahoma, he's up to over 210 pounds or around there now, and he's a sensational player too, or was in high school. Over 2,700 yards on about 179 carries, 37 touchdowns. So he has a lot of really outstanding credentials as well. I think those two guys mixed in with Bo Scarborough, who was on the third team All-SEC pick by Athlons, by the way, and he's, 18 carries in his career. But I think when you look at those guys as a group, there's certainly a lot of talent there, legend. I think what scares people is the unknown.
Yeah.
Just the lack of experience. And also Scarborough's had some injuries.
All right, thanks for those phone calls. We appreciate it. We'll be back to wrap up the show right after this. A sad note, former Haleyville High School star and University of Alabama defensive lineman Byron Holbrooks has passed away. Holbrooks suffered a heart attack on Sunday evening. He had a solid career at UA, but is best remembered for that play. His tone-setting sack of Stan White in the 1990 Iron Bowl. Alabama went on to win the game 16-7 and snap a 4-game losing streak against the Tigers. Holbrooks was just 48 years old. Our condolences to the family. Well, our shirts, as always, provided by the Locker Room Original Elephant Wear, located downtown Tuscaloosa, but you can shop online as well. I'm telling you something, man. If you want to look good, you want to start getting ready for football season, go see Alex and Rush and the folks at the Locker Room, or shop online. Get you some of this original elephant wear. You'll enjoy it like Rodney and I do. Well, that's going to do it for the program tonight. A reminder, you can catch a replay of the show tonight at 10:30, or you can catch it anytime at WVUA23.com. For Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.